man and his son were once going with their donkey to market. As they were walking along by the donkey's side, a countryman passed them and said, "You fools, what is a donkey for but to ride upon?" So the man put the boy on the donkey and they went on their way. But soon they passed a group of men, and one said, "See that lazy youngster? He lets his father walk while he rides." So the man ordered his boy to get off and got on the donkey himself. But they hadn't gone far when they passed two women, and one said to the other, "Shame on that lazy father to let his little son trudge along." Hearing that, the man put his boy up before him on the donkey. By this time they had come to the town, and the passerby began to jeer and point at them. A man stopped and asked, "What are you laughing at?" One of the men said, "Aren't you ashamed of yourself for overloading that poor donkey of yours with you and your son?" So the man and the boy got off and tried to think about what to do. They thought and they thought until at last they cut down a pole and tied the donkey's feet to it and raised the pole and the donkey to their shoulders. They carried the donkey. They went along amid the laughter of all who met them until they came to a bridge, when the donkey, getting one of his feet loose, kicked out and caused the boy to drop his end of the pole. In the struggle, the donkey fell over the bridge, and his forefeet being tied together, the donkey drowned. The moral of Aesop's fable is, try to please everyone, and you will please no one. Let me add this, try to please everyone, and you lose everything. Now Paul had the solution. In 2 Corinthians 5:9, he says, "So we make it our goal to please him, whether we're at home in the body or away from it. For we all must appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each of us may receive what is due us for the things done while in the body, whether good or bad." So we make it, it says, our goal to please him. You know, in Forbes magazine, a lady by the name of Amy Morin had 10 signs you're trying too hard to please everyone. Sign number 1, you pretend to agree with everyone. 2, you feel responsible for how other people feel. 3, you apologize often. 4, you feel burdened by the things you have to do. You can't say no, number 5. Number 6, you feel uncomfortable if someone is angry at you. Number 7, you act like the people around you. Number 8, you need praise to feel good. Number 9, you go to great lengths to avoid conflict. Number 10, you don't admit when your feelings are hurt. Now, you look at all of those things, and if you look at all those things, you'll never be all things to all people. You will never reach your greatest potential if you are a people pleaser. Now let me explain to you how this works. Again, the Bible says, so we make it our goal to please him. This means you don't seek to please yourself. You don't seek to please others. You seek primarily to please God. And by the way, pleasing God is easier, and pleasing God is right. Because when you try to please other people, it leads to wrong behavior. Again, the Bible says, so we make it our goal to please him, whether we are at home in the body or away from it. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each of us may receive what is due us for the things done while in the body. Pleasing God ends in achieving the right end. Now Daniel, he's a great example of this. He was carried off to Babylon. He had his act together. Daniel was smart and handsome, well-informed, quick to understand. He was handpicked to serve in the palace. Mental training meant that he had to learn the Babylon language and literature and ways. Physical strengthening meant that he was required to eat the food and wine from the king's table. After 3 years of training, he and his 3 friends would enter the king's service. Now, pleasing people, that would have been easy, just to do what they said. But Daniel wanted to please someone much more important, God. Daniel 1:8 says, "But Daniel resolved not to defile himself with the raw food and wine, and he asked the chief official for permission not to defile himself this way." The problem? The food had been blessed in the name of the wrong God. Daniel, who had already gained favor in the palace, had a suggestion. "Please test your servants for 10 days. Give us nothing but vegetables to eat and water to drink. Then compare the appearance of us with that of the young men who eat the royal food, and treat your servants in accordance with what you see." So he agreed to this and tested them for 10 days. And at the end of 10 days, they looked healthier and better nourished than any of the young men who ate the royal food. So the guard took away their choice food and wine they were to drink and gave them vegetables instead. Now, because they chose to please God over men, God did something special. Verse 17, "To these 4 young men, God gave knowledge and understanding of all kinds of literature and learning. And Daniel could understand visions and dreams of all kinds." It says, after 3 years, the chief official presented them to Nebuchadnezzar, and the king talked with them, and he found none equal to Daniel. So they entered, he and his friends, the king's service. In every manner of wisdom and understanding about which the king questioned them, he found they were 10 times better than all the magicians and enchanters in his whole kingdom. Pleasing God pays now, and pleasing God pays later. He succeeds, Daniel succeeds in every change of leadership in the kingdom. But here's the good news. Pleasing God pays later in eternity. The question is, are you a people pleaser? That can be exhausting. Be a God pleaser. And guess what? Your life will be extremely blessed.